All right, and we are back. I think I got it fixed up here, so we'll give it a shot and see if we can get us back on the right track. We're going to go back to Turk Wendell here.
Look, you got a fancy gold leaf in the corner.
I know, we kind of got what they, it's like a hot pack going here. Because they got, we got two of the insert cards in one. All right, check in. All right, I think we're good now. So let's jump back into it. We're gonna move on. So those two guys.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Turk Wendell when things were chugging.
I know. All right, we got Greg Olson for card number 3 here.
Greg Olson, solid catcher. Anytime you have a catcher, most of the time you can just say he was solid, just a solid catcher, because very few of them were stars.
Well, he played for a lot of years in the minors, so by the time he got to the Braves as a everyday, catcher, he was seasoned.
Yeah, he's the Bo Nix of catchers. He's seasoned.
Yes, he is.
But it hasn't resulted in much yet. Let's hope that does not continue for Bo Nix.
Now we got Mr. Sam Horn.
Sam around the horn.
He was the DH.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. We get another catcher. Yeah, he spent a lot of time in the minors too, didn't he?
Oh, BJ Surhoff.
See, that's a good catcher.
Good catcher, solid catcher.
Oh, I think he's better than solid. That was a very good catcher. I don't think he spent his whole career in Milwaukee. It's like, no, in fact, it looks like he was an Oriole. I think that I don't remember him much as a. Yeah, no, he spent a good amount of years. Period. He actually was a Brave for a few years. He was an Oriole for most of his career. He was an Oriole for 5 years in the '90s, and then he finished out his career as an Oriole. He did make an All-Star team. He's in the Milwaukee Brewers Hall of Fame and the Orioles Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah, he should be. He was an all-around just awesome catcher, so.
Yeah. 188 home runs, 2,300 hits, 282. He was a very good catcher. Very good catcher. But he wasn't a Rocky.
He was not. No. All right, next we got Hal Morris, Cincinnati Reds. What do we say about Hal Morris?
What I say about Hal Morris is that Hal Morris, he was supposed to be their answer at first base, and I can't remember if he's pre-Chris Sabo or post-Chris Sabo. I think he's pre-Sabo.
Well,
he actually had some pretty good seasons.
Seems like he was a bit of a masher, or he was supposed to be a masher. He finished second in the NL in batting in '91. So,
I mean, the weird part is like he does have a decently long career. He played from '88 to 2000, but the thing is, he only hit 76 home runs. Had a good batting average for his career at 304, but he didn't. He was on the World Series champion team of the Reds in the '90s, but he didn't have the grand career I thought he was supposed to have.
Then we got Greg Briley, who I don't even remember.
I know. It's like I don't remember a Greg Briley. I mean, he's playing up there in the Northwest. If he wasn't a future Rocky, then it's like I wasn't going to know who that guy was.
All right, here's a Cubby, Mr. Gary Scott.
Gary Scott. Here's the thing about poor Gary Scott. I don't remember him either.
Holy cow!
It is a holy cow, because I was really keeping up with them at the time. And it's like, how does Gary Scott not enter my radar?
All right, then we got Daryl Hamilton.
Daryl Hamilton was a lot of Brewers. We'll get some Brewers and Cubs in this pack.
Yeah, it started off with the Leaf inserts, and then now we've been Brewers and Cubs.
Brewers and Cubs, and in those seasons, it's like you're looking at the. Trying to see here real quick.
Well, in '91, he had a .311 batting average, which is pretty darn good.
The Cubs were 78 and 84, and the Milwaukee Brewers were actually 92 and 70, and they were in the American League still. So poor Hamilton, or not Hamilton, the previous guy, Pedro Guerrero. Pedro Martinez was great. I mean, if that means anything.
We got Pedro Guerrero. He was first baseman for the Cardinals, and well, he played for a long time. So by the time he got to the Cardinals, he started in '78 for the Dodgers.
So, I mean, nice long career. And I remember the name Pedro Guerrero, but
I didn't, because I did not care about the Cardinals. So
yeah, no, you were never really a fan of the Cardinals. He only spent his time with two different teams, 78 to 92. 92 would be his last season. 5-time All-Star, won a World Series actually with the Dodgers in '81. He was actually, so here's the fun part. He was the World Series MVP in '81. So, I mean, not bad. I mean, Tim Tuffle.
This guy has been coming up a lot in my
yeah, but is he Orsulak? Tim Tuffle. Let's see what Tim Tuffle's doing with his career. It's funny. It's like every time I look up these guys, he was born in 1988. Actually, not a terrible career. Spent 10 years in the MLB with the Twins, Mets, and Padres. 93 would be his last year, and he won a World Series with the '86 Mets. So,
well,
he did actually play a full season at the end too. So, he's
in the
solid.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, but he's just been coming up a lot lately for me. I don't know why. Must be some kind of omen.
I don't know. Maybe he's trying to take Joe Orsulak's place as the mascot of Packs for Breakfast. Tim Tuffle. He's the new Joe Orsulak. Yeah, he's the new Joe Orsulak. I've eclipsed him in cards that I throw out there at you. Lee Smith. He actually led the league in saves that year in '92. He led the National League. American League was actually led by Eckersley, who actually. So here's the fun part. I hope we get an Eckersley card, because Eckersley had a monster season in '92. Monster.
He was Eckersley had a monster season all the time.
But 92 was a big season for him. Lee Smith was an amazing. I mean, I think at one point Lee Smith was the saves king, and then he was eclipsed, I think, by Wagner or somebody else, maybe even Eck. But Lee Smith was, I mean, he was actually a Cub for a little while too before he became a Cardinal. But I mean, you're looking at, he had 478 saves in his career, and he played from 1980 to 1997. 7-time All-Star, 3 times Rolaids Relief Man Award, which he did in '92. 4 times save leader, also in '92 he did that. Chicago Cubs Hall of Fame, and he is a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame. He got 100% of the vote in 2019.
Well, that's excellent.
He was easily a Hall of Famer. He was so good. Here's the weird part, though. This guy should have been in. He should have been in when 5 years after he retired. And I don't think they gave as much credit to relievers back then. They didn't consider because the relief position was just really starting to take off, getting saves as a stat, because most pitchers would do complete games in the 70s and, into the 80s. It wasn't until about the 80s where saves started to really become a thing.
Sure.
So it's like Lee Smith was just one of the early, really good ones, him and Eck. But it's become a big deal now. It's like you got to have that guy that can shut him down in the ninth.
Oh, I'm drawing the blank from the guy from last week that we talked about. Who was the other guy that just crushed it? Who was
Big Pen?
Yeah, Big Pen. He was another guy that just crushed it in saves.
Oh, yeah. Played for the White Sox. He was amazing, too. Won the Rolaids Relief Award. That is so hard to say.
That's a little bit of a tongue twister. All right, now we got
Rolaids Relief Man Award.
we got Jack Armstrong.
Jack Armstrong. Yes. Hello, Jack. It's like, I hope your arm was strong. You were a pitcher.
Yeah, he was a back and forth guy from the. You know what? We're not going to talk much about him.
No, we don't. It's like if he was of any kind of a note, Dickie-thon. Oh, that's a terrible marathon, the Dickie-thon.
Yeah, we that's an unfortunate name right there.
That's an unfortunate name your parents gave you then, Dickie-thon. Yeah. Oh, poor Dickie-thon.
Poor Dickie-thon.
Very few people are going to donate to the Dickie-thon.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on if it's late at night.
Yeah, that's true. Late at night, there's no lights on in the house, just the TV.
All right, we'll start off with Oral Hershiser, obviously a legend pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, well, and here's the weird part. It's like you start out these packs really strong with really good cards and players. Last one was Chucky Knobloch. This one's Oral Hershiser, who I hated back in the day because he was a Dodger.
Right.
And his best years are with the Dodgers, but he helped them win that World Series. Amazing pitch. I have a lot more respect for him now. He was probably a little bit like Greg Maddux a little bit before Greg Maddux. Their careers kind of parallel, but Maddux went a little longer. Now, I have a tremendous amount of because he was I think he was nicknamed the Bulldog. But
and later in his career, he didn't have that like. He wasn't as aggressive, but early on he was definitely a beast.
I mean, what's weird is that he was only a 3-time All-Star, but he was a World Series champion. He did win the Cy Young. He won the World Series MVP. He was the league championship MVP twice. He won a Gold Glove. He won a Silver Slugger. He was the NL wins leader in '88. And, of course, his big record, 59 consecutive scoreless innings pitched. I mean, that's amazing.
Yep.
To go 59 innings without giving up a run. It's still amazing. It's still amazing to this day. I mean, it's just one of those records that's, if he had to pitch in Coors and did that would have been also.
Well, he may have been able to pull it off back in those days, as far as being able to pitch and not lose your head.
Well, and he was never, you could tell he was a guy that was never scared on the mound. Nothing was too big for him. No moment was too big. He was just like, heads down, professional, one of the best.
All right, then we got Mr. Leo Gomez.
Hi, Leo Gomez. How are you? How was your career, Leo Gomez? Because I don't remember.
Yeah, he was another back and forth guy.
Kevin Reimer. He might have been another back and forth guy.
Yep, another back and forth guy.
Everybody loves just a little bit of the old back and forth.
Yeah, Paul O'Neill.
Paul O'Neill, he's most remembered for his years with the Yankees, though.
Yep.
And I wish he would have never become a Yankee because it made me hate him.
He was a good right fielder.
I respect Paul O'Neill for the amazing career that he had. He was so integral to those championship teams of the Yankees. One of the more unsung heroes, because I think Jeter got most the Jeter and Rivera would always get most of the rub, but you forget about guys like Bernie Williams and Paul O'Neill that were, New York fans won't, but the rest forget just how great those two were to the success of those teams.
I remember he was a decent home run guy. He was a solid on base guy. He was always right in the mix.
He was, and that's the thing. It's like that's why I wish he would have never went to the Yankees. But it was a big deal for him to go to the Yankees because, of course, little Cincinnati's not going to be able to afford him. But the Yankees can come out and spend all the money in the world and get a very good player. Paul O'Neill finished his career with 281 home runs, 288 batting average, almost 1,300 runs batted in. Only played for two teams in his career, 16, 17-year career. 5-time World Series champion. Jeez. He was the AL batting champion in 94. And the Yankees retired his number.
See, there you go.
You're a big deal when the Yankees retire your number.
So he wasn't as unsung as you think. He was overshadowed.
I just don't think that enough people remember him the way they should. He was very good. Ron Karkovice. I like Ron Karkovice. But he wasn't one of the all-time greats, but I liked Ron Karkovice.
He was, and nobody from the White Sox really ever.
Frank Thomas.
Well, Frank Thomas did, for sure, but they were never in the conversation that much.
No, not in that era. I think the White Sox that year, they finished above 500, 86 and 76, but they were third place in the division. Here's the fun part. They were third place. The Chicago White Sox were third placed in the AL West.
Ooh, yeah, that is odd, isn't it?
Yeah, he had 96 home runs for his career. He was a very terrible batting average guy, though. That tells you he was a good catcher.
Yes. And he backed up Carlton Fisk, who's, he took Carlton Fisk's spot. So it's big shoes to fill.
Yeah, absolutely. Fisk was a legend. But yeah, I always liked Karkovice. He spent his entire career with the White Sox, never left them.
And we got
20-year fancy cards.
Yep, that's pretty good. We done 2 packs and got 3 of the insert cards. That's not a bad pull rate.
It's like, at least we know these weren't run through.
That is true.
It's like, because they left the insert cards in there.
And a Brave, Terry Pendleton. He played with the Cardinals for a lot of years. He was another guy that, of course, I didn't pay attention to.
Well, he won we talked a little bit about him, I think, in the last one. He did win an MVP that he probably, I don't know if he really should have. It was his only really great season he ever had. But I think he won the MVP in 91. If you look at his stats, they're actually really good there.
He did. He got MVP, yep.
Yeah, because it's like he also won the batting title that year for the National League. But there was somebody else in the National League that I thought had better numbers and probably should have won the MVP, but they gave it to Pendleton because the Braves were really good.
I was a Braves fan at this time, so I mean I liked him as a Brave, but not as a Cardinal.
Yeah, no, I can imagine you wouldn't have liked him as a Cardinal.
All right, we're gonna put. I gotta separate. Well. I gotta separate my gold cards here real quick.
This poor guy,
Robin Ventura.
It's like you see that name and you forget he was actually a really good third baseman.
He was
a really good player, but he's known for one moment in time
getting his butt kicked.
Getting his butt kicked by an old man.
Yep.
I feel so bad for the guy because it's like he really was a very good player.
He was.
I want to give him his props. I want to give him his stats because this guy was actually really good.
Holy cow!
It's like,
he gets a holy cow.
He does. Because he had a 267 batting average, not terrible. Almost 300 home runs at 294. Almost 1,200 runs batted in. I mean, it's like, and he had a long career. He played 15 seasons in the MLB, 2-time All-Star, 6-time Gold Glove winner. So that tells you how good he was at third base. He had a Golden Spikes Award and the Dick Hauser Trophy. I thought they gave that to Dickie Thon every year.
No, he only wanted it.
He only wanted it. It's like, well, that means it was the College Baseball Player of the Year for anybody that does not know what the Dick Hauser Award is.
I have a statue of Dick Hauser down in my sports room.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe next week I'll bring that up. Dick Hauser will centerpiece next week.
You know Dickie Thon will try to make an appearance.
He will try. All right.
Eric Hansen, Mariner that is not somebody that I really remember that well. I don't like the next card.
Yeah, he was
the thing is, like, I kind of looked ahead because Eric Hansen was just not all that interesting.
No, he was a minor leaguer that pitched for one season.
Here's the thing about Darryl Strawberry. As a Met, he was one of my favorite players. As a Dodger, I hated him because I felt like he just went to the place to take the money, and it's like I'd have loved to have seen him just stay a Met. Actually, I'd love to have seen him go be a Cub. But
yeah, that wasn't going to happen.
No. But Darryl Strawberry also just one of the all-time best. And he's got one of the best Simpsons episodes, too.
Well, yes, he does. Juan Guzman.
That's a great pitcher, too.
Yep.
He doesn't get enough credit. He was a big part of those, and I think the Blue Jays won the championship that year. He was a big part of them winning. Guzman was an amazing pitcher for them.
Yeah, in 91, he was the second in the AL Rookie of the Year.
So it's like Guzman, I mean, he was so good. I don't think he won the MVP that year. Here's the thing. His career didn't last as long as you would like to have seen it.
Sure.
It lasted only 9 or 10 seasons, but he still got 91 wins, a 4.08 ERA, but he was still great for those Blue Jays teams. But at the end of his career, he was just hanging on with the Orioles, the Reds, and the Devil Rays. All-Star in 92, 2-time World Series champion. AL ERA leader in 96. So up until 96, he was still a really. But Juan Guzman, I remember how crucial he was for those Blue Jays teams when they were winning their World Series.
Yeah, and then the Blue Jays to me were a team that I was, Braves, Cubs, and I didn't know much about the Blue Jays. So when they came in and they were just tearing it up, I was like, wait, who are these guys?
Oh, I know. It's like they got Joe Carter. Cito Gaston was their coach. It's still one of those things where I don't know if anybody really realized just how good that team was until all of a sudden they're sitting in the World Series right across from, they're sitting in the World Series across from the Atlanta Braves, who had the best record that year and were supposed to be there.
Yep. So the next card we're going to go to, Randy, I'm going to complain a little bit. One, because it's Ray Langford, but two, because I don't understand why they can't collate these things so that they all go in the same direction in a pack.
I agree with that. Why is that so? I mean, you'd think they're just coming out of some random thing. It's like, just it makes it more professional if every card is facing the same way up when you're going through. But this is Leaf. But remember, this is Leaf trying to be upper class.
Yeah, well,
so all cards going the same direction if you want to be upper class.
And you know what? I'm not going to talk about Ray Langford. I'm really not.
Because he was a Cardinal?
Because he was a Cardinal and I didn't like him.
Dennis Martinez. This poor guy, he was actually a good pitcher too. But the problem was Pedro Martinez was the better Martinez.
Yes, and it was hard to be a Martinez.
It was hard to be a Martinez when you're going up against Pedro. But Dennis was actually a really good pitcher.
He had a long career with the Orioles and then the Expos, 2 teams.
But yeah, I like Dennis Martinez, but he kind of pales in comparison to the great Pedro.
Well, look, I
remember when I first started watching baseball, Dennis Martinez because Pedro played for the Expos as well.
Right.
So.
But look at his 91 season. He won 14 games, pitched a 2.39 ERA, and had 123 strikeouts. And that was late in his career.
Oh yeah, no, he's a really good. It's just when you compare him to Pedro, it's like it's not really a thing. But in his career, he had a 3.70 ERA, so he always kept down the runs. Had 2,100 strikeouts, 245 wins, almost 250 wins.
Yep, he was.
He did play. Here's the fun part: he played for 23 seasons.
I know. That's a workhorse right there.
I mean, just 4-time All-Star, MLB wins leader in 81, MLB ERA leader in 91. He pitched a perfect game on July 28th of 91. He is in the Orioles Hall of Fame, and he is also in the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2016. So, well-deserved. Hey, Kevin Mitchell, before he was a Red?
Yeah, he was
a Red or a Giant? Or was he both?
I don't remember Kevin Mitchell.
Kevin Mitchell was the guy that made a barehanded catch in the corner. He's running a ball down in, I think it was right field, into the corner of right field. And I think it's when he was with the Reds. And he could not get his glove up there, and he just threw up his bare hand and caught this thing and just snagged it. It was such a great play. They played that thing on Sports Center all freaking day when it happened. It's still a highlight.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah, I don't know why I don't remember Kevin Mitchell, but
yeah, look up that play because it is actually a really good play that he makes. And he had a very good career. But yeah, I think it was definitely when he was with the Reds. Because he did play for the Giants. But I think it was in his Reds run that he made this beautiful barehanded catch.
Oh, are you seeing this, Randy?
We need to start raising money for the Dickie-thon.
All right.
We don't know. This poor guy could be homeless.
Dick, who would have thought the 92 card that's our bane of existence, Dickie-thon.
Holy cow!
I'm gonna look up old Dickie-thon and see.
Hey, he started in '89, uh, or 79 with the Angels. Then he went to the Astros, Padres, Phillies, and then Rangers. So, I mean, he had a long career.
He did. So,
And
he played for 14 or 15 years in the MLB. The fun part is, it's like like I said, there are always players on every team that nobody else remembers because they never got the national exposure. But as a local guy, I guarantee you there are people that when he played for the Astros or the Phillies, they remember this guy. They remember Dickie Thon being on their team.
Well, he was
264 average.
In 83, he was an all-star, Dickie Thon.
And he won the Silver Slugger Award. So, I don't know, maybe Dickie Thon's doing okay. Going around talking about himself.
All right, let's finish this pack out with Wilson Alvarez here.
No, you just showed me. You have had that card, but not opened in a pack in this episode.
Yes.
And so Wilson Alvarez also a really good pitcher. But see, the White Sox, they had good players at the time. I just don't think they had Frank Thomas yet. They had Ron Karkovice and Wilson Alvarez. Who else do you need?
Right.
I don't know why they did not win a World Series with the battery of Wilson Alvarez and Ron Karkovice.
Nobody will.
That should have been the Cy Young Award winner right there.
No one will ever know.
Nobody will ever know why. They might have even had still George Bell, unless he had already went to the Orioles, or not the Orioles, the Blue Jays.
All right.
Chuck McElroy.
Chucky Mac.
Now, here's the thing. I can't remember if Chuck McElroy eventually becomes a Rocky. But Chuck McElroy, when I was watching the Cubs, Chuck McElroy was always one of those guys that I always believed that he was going to get the guys out. He just always looked like he should be that good. And very rarely he did.
Yep.
But I like Chuck McElroy. I really did. I was a fan of his. But when he played with the Cubs, but I was right. He was a Colorado Rocky in 98 and 99. I'm sitting there going, I could have swore I remember Chuck McElroy coming here.
Yep.
38 and 30 overall, 3.90 ERA. Probably a lot of that was destroyed here in Colorado.
Well,
604 strikeouts.
In 91, he was a bullpen guy so he must have been a bullpen guy for us too.
He was a bullpen guy he was a bullpen guy mostly. Not a save guy, but he was a strong middle reliever.
And
yeah, I like Chuck McElroy. Oh, the best card right there.
We got a gold edition checklist.
That card's got to be worth at least $20.
I would have to think at least 20. I'm gonna have to throw it on eBay right now.
Yeah, I think so. Because you hopefully no corners are slightly bent on there. Hopefully everything's perfect. Because
it
doesn't look perfect. It doesn't look perfectly centered though.
It is definitely not perfectly centered, but it's. I mean, how often do you get
names on there? Tewksbury.
How often do you get a gold checklist? That's all I'm saying.
They had Ron Karkovice in there. That card's got to be worth a fortune. Greg Myers. Oh, well, speaking of Ron Karkovice, there's Greg Myers.
That's right. Carbon copy almost.
Almost just exactly. Look, there's a lot of teams. I just don't know if they're big name teams.
Hey, Alan Trammell.
Alan Trammell. I liked Alan Trammell. To me, he was like the poor man's. Like Wade Boggs or Robin Yount, even though he didn't play third. But I just always looked at Alan Trammell and thought to myself, he could be one of those guys if he was just a little bit better. And he played third.
I really like this card because it, it reminds me of the 90s baseball when they used to have the flip-up sunglasses that they could pivot to up or down.
Oh, I love those. And this is a double card. I'm going to say it. That's a double card. Look at who's in that. Look who's in there.
That's Mark.
Also with Trammell.
It's Mark McGuire, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's some double card right there. You got Mark McGuire and a Trammell.
I don't know. I don't think it counts, Randy.
I hope that McGuire was not trying to steal a base.
This was a catcher that I did like that just so happened to be a Dodger.
You know the only reason I like Mike Scioscia? He was in the Simpsons episode.
Other than
that, I don't care about Mike Scioscia.
Other than that, you don't care.
I just don't care about
But
Mike Scioscia.
he was such a good catcher for so many
He was
years.
such a Dodger. Look at all that Dodger.
Yeah, there's a lot of Dodger. There is.
It's like it's just Dodger.
Hey.
Oh, come on. Is that the same pack?
I'm looking because I'm like,
did you reshuffle it back in or something?
no. I've been noticing in the 92, 93 seasons that I've been opening, even 94, I've been getting a lot of double cards. But so we're just going to do...
Holy cow!
We're going to give him another holy cow there and move on.
It's like, yeah, I've said a lot of... Hey, Jeff Reardon.
Yep,
There you go.
Jeff Reardon.
Didn't he become a Twin at one point? Why do I remember him more as a Minnesota Twin? Did he start with the? I don't remember.
He was with the Twins before the Red Sox.
Okay, that's why I remember Reardon as a Twin.
Yep.
Because I'm just sitting there going, wait a minute, I don't remember his Red Sox life very much. Because I think he was on that Twins team that won a World Series.
Well, he was 80.
He was a World Series champion in '87 when he was with the Twins.
Yep.
4-time All-Star, Rolaids Relief Man Award, NL Saves leader in '85.
He was a good pitcher.
Good pitcher. Helped the Twinkies win a World Series. And I was rooting for the Twinkies. I had a best friend that lived across the street from me who used to be a huge Twins fan. So that's why I knew people like Kent Herbeck and Chucky Knobloch and Puckett and Viola and who else am I trying to think of? Who was their big first baseman? No, that was Herbeck.
Kent.
Steve Wilson. You're a Dodger.
Yeah, another Dodger guy.
Future guy that it's like if he stayed a Dodger when the Rockies got there, I'm sure he killed us.
Who came from the Cubs.
Yeah, but he wasn't significant for the Cubs. Roberto Kelly. But he's a Yankee. What is this? What is this? The torture pack? Dodgers and Yankees?
It looks like we're...
Roberto Kelly played for other teams.
And here's an Oriole. I was an Orioles fan in the early 90s. I really enjoyed watching the Orioles.
And the thing is, I still love Camden Yards.
Yep,
I still think that is one of the best ballparks.
Great ballpark.
I mean, I love that warehouse being right there. It's just got such a great old time look to it.
Camden Yards.
Spent a lot of time in the minors.
Chris Hoyles, catchers. We've had a lot of catchers in these packs.
Yeah, we have. There you go. I never understood how he was so good. He was just so good, though.
Tony Gwynn.
He looked like he should be a great baseball player, but he's one of the best.
Yep. You can't really say Tony Gwynn and people be like, who was that?
Yeah, no, that is one of the all-time elite hitters. I mean, if you needed a hit, that's the guy to get it for you. I think he's even a member of the 3,000 hit club.
Yep.
Because he's just that good.
He was fantastic.
Not a home run hitter, but man, he was always going to contend for a batting title, and he was just going to get you a ton of hits.
Tony has 4 NL batting titles in his lifetime, and that was through the 91 season. Yeah. I mean, in 87, he hit 370.
He had it. Here's his career batting average. You want to take a stab at his career batting average?
I'm gonna say 310.
338.
Yeah, that's insane.
Career batting average. That tells you we don't have players that can hit 338 for a season now, and that's his career batting average. 3,141 hits. Just unbelievable. 15-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glover, 7-time Silver Slugger, Roberto Clemente Award, 8-time NL batting champion, won it 4 years in a row. Member of course, the Hall of Fame, as he should be. Just an amazing player. He was one of those players I would always, when I would draft a team in my baseball games, my baseball video games, I always made sure I had Tony Gwynn.
Had to have Tony.
It's like just too good not to.
All right, we're gonna run through some more of these guys here real quick because we're getting towards the end of the show here. So we're gonna run through some of these guys. We can stop if we see somebody particularly good, like Kevin Reimer, outfielder for the Rangers.
Kevin Reimer reason.
We got Paul O'Neill again, not in this pack, but
he's in his Reds uniform. Thank you for that.
And not in his other, we didn't get him in a double pack there. Oh, Karkovice again.
Karkovice again.
Jimmy Key.
Jimmy Key. That's another really good pitcher. I'll tell you, that pitching staff for those Blue Jays teams was extremely good.
And it kind of had to be.
It's the reason they won the World Series that year.
All right, Andy Benes, great pitcher for the Padres.
Great pitcher. But it wasn't somebody that I cared that much about, but it's like he was great.
Holy cow!
It's like, really, Mike Morgan?
A gold card of Mike Morgan. Yep.
Like, okay.
A man who needs no introduction, Mr. Harold Baines.
No, he is still... people still know his name today because of, future Rocky.
Hojo. Howard Johnson.
Always liked Howard Johnson.
I don't even think they exist anymore.
The Hojos?
Yeah, the hotel chain.
Yeah, I don't know if they do or not. They could have been bought out by Marriott or something else, or who knows.
Jim Abbott.
The man with one hand had to switch that glove.
Yep. Always just amazing to watch.
Yep. Yeah, and he was a really good pitcher, too.
Yep. Overcoming adversity.
He won a World Series with the Braves.
Joe Oliver, catcher.
Just a solid catcher, solid guy.
Solid guy. Mel Hall, New York Yankee.
Okay, I don't remember it. And he's a Yankee, so I don't want to remember him.
Ooh, Mark Lemke.
We have not had a Mark Lemke. That's like the Greg Maddux of second baseman, only just not as good of a player. But
I liked Mark.
I liked Mark Lemke.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Okay, that's perfect. So Dennis Eckersley that year, he won the Cy Young Award, and he won the AL MVP. He won both awards that year. That's how good of a season that he had.
Right.
It's like, I know I saw it in there. Yeah. It's like he was actually, because he had 51 saves that year for the Oakland Athletics, but he won the MVP and the Cy Young as a relief pitcher. That's how good that season was.
Ooh, Luis Mercedes.
What a great name.
I liked watching him.
It's a great name, Luis Mercedes.
Kind of an unfortunate picture, but...
Yeah. It just looks like, we gotta get to the bathroom.
Yeah, kind of, right? Got Von Hayes here. What's up, camera? Figure it out.
What's up? The camera's been working so well. It's like, and now it's just going, no, I don't want it. Not on Von Hayes.
And it's trying to autofocus on the...
It's like, I want to go back and see the shiny thing.
Yeah, autofocus sometimes, it's good and bad at the same time.
It's like Charlie Hayes, yes. Von Hayes, not as much.
Allen again.
Alan Trammell.
Todd Stottlemyre, good pitcher.
I'll tell you, that pitching staff for that Blue Jays team just looks better and better and better every time you reveal another card that they have.
Yep. Always solid, Todd Stottlemyre.
Yeah, I mean, not the greatest guy in the world, but oh no, not Sean Bosky. I could still hear Harry Carey's voice say Sean Bosky.
Yep.
It's like, but he didn't do much.
All right, let's get the last one here, and then we'll wrap her up. I like these packs. They're easy to open. So, if anything, Leaf did a good job with making them easy to open. All right, we got Mike McFarland.
Another catcher. So many catchers. We have the greatest collection of mediocre catchers ever in these cards.
I'm going to sell that on eBay, too. The greatest collection of mediocre catchers.
Just sell it in a nice little display pack.
So,
just like, look at all these mediocre catchers. Don't you want this hanging on your wall?
got our gold card of Edgar Martinez.
He's worthy of a gold card.
Yes, he is.
I mean, very worthy of the gold card. I mean, it's nice to have a Mariner I recognize. It's like the last few Mariners haven't been that way.
Gerald Perry as a pinch hitter.
Really?
That's what his card...
They actually gave him the thing pinch hitter. That means it's like, we don't really want you in the field, so we're not going to give you we're not going to call you like a utility infielder or utility outfielder.
No,
you're just a pinch hitter.
He was just a pinch hitter. That was his job.
That's what's called a DH in the American League.
Jay Buhner, I remember him a lot too. Another Mariner.
He was actually really good not the greatest ever, but Jay Buhner was a solid Mariners player.
Yep, remember him.
At least I remember him.
Oh.
The Nasty Boys. The nastiest of the Nasty Boys.
Ron Dibble. That's
most
a good...
controversial, maybe. I don't know. Norm Charlton was pretty nasty. But I think Dibble was the most.
That's a good picture they took there. I like that one.
It's like, yeah, it looks like look at how far back that arm is.
Yep.
It's like, man, it doesn't even look real.
No, it's like his other arm had two arms.
It looks like, though, if he hits you with that punch, you're not getting up for a while.
Right? Then we got Milt Collier?
Kyler. Decent player. And, I wasn't a Tigers fan. I know more about the Tigers now than I ever knew about old Tigers.
Yep.
That's because, of course, I work with a guy who's a huge Tigers fan.
Not only did we get one pinch hit card, we got two pinch hit cards of the same freaking guy in the same pack.
4 cards apart.
Oh, and then we got Jay Buhner again. This is just a repeat. This is literally just a repeat pack.
Holy smokes. That gets a holy cow. Come on.
Holy
and then...
cow.
Yeah.
No, that's 2 farts. We're going to do 2 farts on that one, because... Come on.
Yeah, because we doubled up all those cards.
Okay, well, we got through those. Let's see. That was horrible. Come on, Leaf. Get your game together. Willie McGee.
Willie McGee. You know where I remember him most? As a Cardinal.
I know. Let's not talk about it, because he was a Giant and a Cardinal.
And there's another Mike Morgan.
Not a gold this time, Mike. You're out.
No, but it shouldn't have been. Mark Guthrie, that is a good pitcher.
Yep.
Pitcher for the Twinkies.
Great pitcher for the
I bet
Twins.
you got to wear those awesome Dairy Queen uniforms.
Randy Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin? Oh wait, Randy Tomlin, and he's the wrong color. But they're both in Pittsburgh.
Yes, they are, and we're gonna go ahead and round this episode out with Sean Dunston.
Holy cow.
The Sean-O-meter, Sean Dunston, still one of my all-time favorite players, even though he wasn't one of the greatest. Sean Dunston will always have a soft spot in my heart. Just one of my favorite early players when I started watching baseball.
Oh yeah, always fun to watch, and you like to see that. He's a player that's just fun to watch.
He was. It was fun to keep track of the Shawno-meter and what he was batting, and what great memories of that, of old Cubbies.
All right, Randy. Well, we made it through another episode. YouTube wasn't a great broadcast this week. I got to figure out why. The camera wasn't, it just wasn't feeding correctly. We were all buffered the whole episode, so that kind of sucks. Technology, you just run into problems. What do we say?
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll sort itself out. It won't sort itself out. It never does. You are going to have to